Hey guys, welcome back. My name's Stu and this is Cracking Glacier Park for Rollercoaster Tycoon Classic Part 8 of the Bugfix Scenario Pack. Build a big theme park on this melting glacier. Don't slip. Your objective, to have at least 2,500 guests in your park at the end of October Year 3 with a park rating of at least 600. So quite a difficult guest goal then in a fairly short amount of time. So we're going to have to be quite busy on this one, and already I can see that the layout doesn't look great. So I think let's have a look to see what land. Right, the purple is the land that we own. We can buy this land over here. Let's see how expensive that is. 10. Okay, it's not very expensive, but I'm not sure whether we'll need to bother with that, because I think the hassle of having this land over here used might outweigh any benefit. If it was a nice big flat park, it would be different, but because it's we're gonna have to build bridges and things like that, it might be too much hassle. There is some areas here, so let's have a look. Can we? Yeah, so we've got building rights to build bridges across the chasm, so that's cool. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so we've got an information kiosk down already with a path going all the way around. I think what I'll do is I'll delete sort of just one part of that, maybe that bit as well. Otherwise, what will happen is guests will just start wandering around in a big circle because they like to go straight on. So they'll come up and they'll just keep going round and round, and eventually they'll go about their day, but it will be a bit of a hassle and probably lead to overcrowding. So free admission, so we're going to be charging for rides. We've got chairlift and monorail cycles, probably the worst ride in the game. We've got decent selection of gentle rides. This is one of the ones from the expansion packs. Decent selection of coasters to begin with. Some nice thrill rides. Probably won't bother with any water rides. And some shops. Not a huge amount of shops. So I think what we'll do, since we've got a decent amount of rides to begin with, put my research into shops. We can research rides later. And I think I'm just going to start putting down rides, densely packing them in. This isn't going to be pretty. We've only got 3 years to do 2,500 guests, so we haven't got time to mess about, and we haven't got time to make it pretty. So we are just going to have to ram in as much as we can, as quickly as we can. May year 1, so we've been building, packing everything in as tightly as we can. The guests are starting to pour in. We've got the green arrow next to the guest number, so we know we're getting a large amount of guests coming through. We've spent all the initial loan, so I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to borrow some money, build us a couple of profit coasters just down here, charge a lot of money for them, and then that will enable me to then carry on building throughout the rest of the park. October year 1, so I borrowed some cash, built my favoured looping coaster design. I call this one Loops. It's in the tutorial section if you want to build that. So a couple of them synchronized as well, so that'll give her a nice bonus. Making tons of cash off this one. We were charging £10 a go when they were new. We've had to drop it down to £7, but they're still buying the odd photo as well. And then just over here then we've got a wild mouse called Ice Rat. Good stats on that. Still charging £10 a go on that. So money wise, we're making tons of cash. 11,000 in ride tickets, and then shop sales 11,500, almost 12,000. Wow. So that'll be from all the, obviously the food and drink and the photo sections, but a massive chunk of that will be from the umbrellas as well. So I've built a bridge just over here. So I'm going to start building some cheap and cheerful rides. Now, my guest numbers are starting to drop which is a little bit worrying. It was flatlining, now it's dropping. So when it flatlines, that makes me wonder if there's harder guest generation. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a few more rides. It's probably problems with overcrowding and litter as well. So I'm going to put down a few more rides as placeholders, a few coasters as placeholders, and then see what happens. If the guest numbers do not go up after fixing any problems and putting those new rides down, then I know we're going to have harder guest generation, and that's when I need to extend those coasters beyond 600 meters in length. And then hopefully then the guest numbers will go up and we'll have solved it. So I'm going to crack on building. I'll see you soon. Junior 2, park rating gone right back up. Guests in the park starting to go back up as well. And I haven't built any long coasters. So I've put my placeholder coasters down and the guest numbers are going back up. They started going up, to be honest, once I fixed the problems that we were having. A lot of them were running out of cash as well. So I've put down a load of cash machines. I've built a nice paving loop around this section here. Toilets, information kiosk and cash points at the major corners. And then here, Heartline Twister. I know a lot of people don't like them, and I know they're not very good, but there is something about them that that draws me to them. And then a bobsleigh. So I usually wouldn't build these, but I have come up with a decent design that works. And it's fairly compact as well. Decent stats. So let me know if you want me to do a tutorial on this one. And then just down here then we've got mini coaster. Decent stats on that. So I think we're all right now. We've hit a bit of a hurdle with the rating and the guest numbers. But we fixed all that now. The guest numbers are starting to go up. We are going to have to start ramming out some more rides in order to hit that 2,500 guest number, because we're sort of like halfway through time-wise and halfway through goal-wise. So I'm just going to start putting down loads of rides and we should be fine. October year 2, just under 1,800 guests in the parks. We need around another 700 or so. We've got a spinning mouse just here, Polar Vortex, and we've gone for a chairlift just down here. It only takes you over to here, but it's an extra ride. Guests seem to like it. And then over here then we've got a spiral coaster. Now, well, decent stats on that. So I really need to crack on this year. Need to get a load more rides down, and let's have a look, see what we've got. Mini mazes, that'll be a good solution. We've got some decent coasters. We could chuck down a couple of corkscrews, maybe some juniors. Yeah, I think we should be okay, but with something like this, it is a good idea to save fairly frequently and also to rename your save files. So for example, I'm going to save now, and that way, if I get to next year and I haven't done it, I can just roll it back to this point. Or if I'm looking like I'm going to do it before next year, I'll save it, say October year 3, under a different name. And then if something goes wrong, there you go. Guests complaining about the litter in your park. Something like that could crop up, trash my rating, and cause me to fail a scenario. So just remember the save quite often and rename your saves as well, so you don't overwrite saves in case you need to roll back. August year 3, 2,357 guests in the park. So we're well on our way. A couple of months to go, only a few hundred more guests to go. So we've got Ice Shuttle, Corkscrew Coaster, a couple of them down there. Got a junior coaster just here, Baby Yeti. We've got a compact inverted coaster just here, Slush Crush. This one does 2 circuits. So that gives you a little bit of extra stats and also helps keep the guests in the queue a little bit longer, which keeps them off the main paths, which helps reduce overcrowding. Vertical drop coaster just here. This one's Yeti. And then around here, we got a few mini mazes. We got, what's that, about 7 mini mazes just by there. All these allow add extra guests to the park. And I've also been putting down some of these scenery, these castles, these ones here, at sort of major junctions and places where a lot of guests walk past, because I'm trying to win awards because they help pump extra guests into your park. So great scenery. I'm going to need a lot more of them to be thinking that to make me eligible. Award for the park with the best roller coaster. So I am consistently winning awards. But will it be enough? It should be. We're about to hit 2,400 and we've only got a month or so to go, so we should be fine. And just down here then, one of these expansion coasters, polar bear. Decent stats on that. So it ticks you up, drops you down, up, corkscrew, and then back. Money wise, no issues at all. We're making so much cash, but we should be fine. October year 3, we need 2,500 guests. We've got just under 2,700. So we are going to do the scenario. We are going to beat it with a nice buffer as well. So we've added an enterprise, haven't really added much else. I've won a couple more awards as well. So once the awards were won, I knew I was all set. So we've got best custom designed awards and best staff awards. For the best staff, you need to have, for a start, you need to have at least one of each type. And then there's a certain ratio of staff to guests that you need. So once you've got a couple of thousand guests, it does become harder to win awards like that. So I did say at the start this wasn't going to be pretty, because I knew I was going to have to be on it from the word go. So what we did when we came in then, there was a path completely encircling the information kiosk. I deleted a couple of tiles of that just to help stop them wandering round and round in a circle. After that then, put my research into shops, just put down loads of rides, packing them in tightly, loads of shops, again, packing them in tightly as well, using as much space as we can. Although we do have the ability to buy this extra land around here, I figured it was going to be too much hassle, because we were going to have to build bridges and things across. That means there is going to be bottlenecks. I live and work in a place which is has got a river running through it, so I know that bridges are bottlenecks. So it's it can be a real pain, especially on this game where the pathfinding isn't that great. But yeah, so once we'd spent all the loan out, I borrowed the initial loan. I borrowed some more and then built a couple of these profit coasters here, these loopers. What are we charging now? £5. Been dropping it down throughout when they stopped paying. Initially it was 10 and I dropped them to 7, now it's 5. These enabled me to earn so much money I was able to pay back all the loan and then expand then. So we expanded across onto here. I think I was having issues then with rating, and guest numbers seem to plateau and then fall. So I wasn't sure if we had harder guest generation. So I put down a couple more rides, fixed the initial problems. The coasters that I built were designed to be placeholders so that if they didn't increase the guest numbers, I could make them longer to satisfy the criteria for harder guest generation. As it turned out, they didn't need to. So there isn't harder guest generation on this scenario. It's just a high number of guests in a relatively short period of time. One issue that we had was the guests running out of cash. So thankfully we unlocked a cash point. And after that, it was just a case of putting down as many rides as we can in a short space. And then Oh, we've done it. Ooh, ooh. Fantastic. Some of them, like this compact inverted, we're putting it onto 2 laps in order to help keep guests in the queue for a little bit longer, to keep them off the path. So I've got some of these queue line TVs as well, and an entertainer in there to stop them getting angry. Yeah, and a ton of these little mazes. I think each of these will probably add around, I think it's about 40 guests to the parks. We've got 7 of them, so it's a couple of hundred guests. As I said, I've got this bobsleigh design I've been working on. That's pretty cool. If you want me to show you how to do that, let me know. Decent stats on a fairly small footprint. Yeah, so I did say it wasn't going to be pretty, and guess what? It isn't pretty. But sometimes there are scenarios where the goal, you just have to ram as many rides in as quickly as you can. So it's always good if you can do that. You know, if you're quick enough to do that, you will need to on a scenario like this. So I am Stu. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. This was Cracking Glacier Park, part 8 of the Bugfix Scenario Pack. I'll see you next time. Bye.